You know, Trump, he's been renaming a lot of different things. Like he renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And then the news, they announced like a day later that he's declaring the country's first ever national instrument. He said on live TV, he goes, "I declare that the national instrument of the United States will be the Donald Trumpet." No, he's been changing a lot about the White House. You know, they had those UFC fights. Right before the UFC fight, he actually he changed the presidential gardens for the first time in like 50 years. The Secret Service he was like, "Can we change the garden?" And Secret Service is like, "Yes, Mr. President. What would you like to change about the gardens?" He goes, "I would like all of the bugs removed and replaced with my favorite bug, the you're fired fly." You know, childbirth is beautiful, right, guys? You guys have kids? No, my buddy just had a kid. He's in his late 20s, and he sends me a video of his baby, like playing with like a pen, you know, and her hands were so small, and she like can barely hold it. And then I turn the volume on, and I hear, "My hands are too small to grip this pen to sign bills." And then I realized, oh my gosh, those are not my friend's baby's hands. Those are Trump's baby hands. Trump's got some interesting picks. You know, for vice president in 2016, he decided to run alongside a man by the name of Mike Pence. And I really like ancestry and like history of names and stuff like that. So I look him up. And I'm like, where the heck could Pence come from? Because, you know, like Shoemaker, you know, maybe their great-grandfather was a cobbler. Or Smith, you know, they come from a line of blacksmiths. Mike Pence, I look at his family history, and the reason he has that last name is because his great-grandfather, and I'm not joking, by the way, you can look this up, his great-grandfather was a pencil. Like an actual pencil that you write things with. And then he decides to pick J.D. Vance, and I look it up. I look up J.D. Vance. He gets his last name because his grandfather was a Game Boy Advanced. SP. You know, did you guys hear about how Trump and Melania are having a second kid? I saw it on the news that they want to have another kid, but they're too old, so they decided to try it with in vitro fertilization, and that's where they took Trump's seed and planted it directly inside of Melania's body. And I literally could not make this up if I tried. 2 weeks after they tried the in vitro fertilization, a literal orange tree grew out of her stomach. Their son Barron, he climbed the tree and he goes, "You all look like ants from up here." The tree wasn't even that big. He's just like 6'8". You know, recently Fed Chair Jerome Powell spoke out and exposed a lot of corruption and collusion between the Trump administration and banking institutions in the United States. And apparently Trump was putting illegal pressure on these financial institutions in an effort to get them to lie about their numbers to bolster foreign investment. Chase Bank said that it's never been a better time to invest in your 401k. Bank of America was lying about giving people fixed rate mortgages when they were actually being given variable rate mortgages. And then FaZe Bank said, "Zach Bia is my fucking blood brother." You know, Trump's been getting a lot of flack from the news, you know, for his spending recently in the Department of Defense. He recently upped the Department of Defense budget to $1.5 trillion. When asked by the media, they're like, "Oh, is this all for Iran? Like, what do you need $1.5 trillion for?" And he goes, "We need it to buy one single pair of AirPods. Because those things are expensive." You know, he's talking about, we're talking about dropping nuclear weapons in Iran for the first time. Have you guys seen this on the news? It's pretty bad. And, you know, Trump, he was talking about how we're going to drop the biggest bomb ever. And before, the only nuclear bombs that have ever been dropped in war are the Fat Man and the Little Boy. And to signify just how big this nuclear weapon will be, Trump said, and you can look this up, I'm not kidding, Trump said it would be called the Queso. You know, Trump gets a lot of heat for his picks, you know, and I think RFK was an excellent choice for the head of the health department. A lot of people give him a lot of flack, but RFK on day one was able to successfully ban 99% of artificial fats and sugars. On day one, can you believe that? All he had to do was deport queso. They lifted him with a helicopter. He's like, no, I want to come back and eat all the chips, guys. I've heard, allegedly, they're going to drop him in Iran soon. You know, the other day I was getting a little hungry, and I love snacks. I'm a big snacker myself. So I bit into a Cheeto, and the Secret Service literally tackled me to the floor. I had to go to court for it. I almost went to prison. They charged me with assaulting the president. Now I can't fly on airplanes anymore, which is probably for the best. You know, airplane food is not very good. The last time I was on an airplane, I was visiting some of my business partners in China, and it was an overnight flight, and when you fly that long, they're required to serve you meals. And so they served us breakfast in the morning, and it was this fruit medley. I wish I remembered what it was called, but in Chinese, it was fuzzy fruits. That was what they called it. And like, yeah, here, try some of these fuzzy oranges. And I was like, okay. And so I take one, and I go to peel it, and the orange, it starts talking. It says, no, I paid a lot for that toupee. Oh. I'm the president. And I was like, can I get something else? I think this orange is busy. I think he has a country to run. You know, you guys like celebrities? You guys keep up with celebrity culture? Sure. Yeah, you guys know Chris Brown? Whoa. Yeah, Chris Brown, he dropped a music video that uses AI. And his comments, these people that like comment, I understand being anti-AI, I understand it. But they're in Chris Brown's comment section like, hey man, like I really like you, but if you're gonna keep using AI in your, you know, artistic work, I don't think I can support you anymore. It's like, this is Chris Brown we're talking about here. Like, I understand AI is causing pollution that's, you know, disrupting and hurting minority communities, but I feel like if we taught Chris Brown how to get an AI girlfriend, that would protect more black women than the pollution runoff would hurt. You'd go to the Apple store like once a week with like, they'd be like, well, how did you smash this phone to pieces? You got it 5 days ago. And he's like, listen, like, you don't understand. The phone hit me first. Plus, it forgave me. So why are we even talking about this? Getting mad at Chris Brown for using AI, that's like saying the reason we don't like Trump is because he has tiny hands. Like, that's not the problem here. It's that he's orange. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight.